Kind of, it's so good to see you, man. It feels like I know it's only
Man.
well, it's been less than 2 weeks because you're still in quarantine, I see.
No, it feels like yesterday when we were at Ling Ling's and it was that crazy weather before we fucking said our farewells.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I kind of fucked up today. I woke up really early, needed a coffee. I drank my coffee, and now I've turned up to a coffee chat with tea. Is that okay?
I actually forgot mine. I just had some tea before.
It's
So
in a beer mug, so I trust
I
that.
thought it was beer when you showed me. I'm just going to grab a bowl of water real quick.
So actually, what I'm really interested in hearing about, the big news, man. This guy, just for the purpose of the recording, this guy, Mad Dog Rowdy here, decides to go not only to, well, leave the ultimate lifestyle of Bali, but goes back to Melbourne for the people he loves and cares about, which I think is, we can't hold that against you, mate. Goes into quarantine, and instead of doing what a lot of people do, falling into what a routine of kind of shittiness, you go and run not just a marathon, not just a half marathon, not just a marathon, but an ultra marathon. I didn't even know this existed. And bro, I can see your door behind you. It doesn't look that far away. How do you get 50K? 50K between there. Oh man, I want to hear all about it.
So I knew coming in here that I was going to do some sort of exercise or something like that, and I was thinking about half a marathon, but I'd already done it prior to this. And then I was speaking to my uncle, and he's right into these big long virtual walks at the moment where you walk the Great Wall of China, but they'll say, oh, you've got X amount of days to walk how many kilometers. So he goes, oh, I dare you to do half marathon. I was like, yeah, well, that kind of went through my head. I was like, but I've already done it, so I mean, marathon would be next on the list, right? And then he's like, well, why don't you run a marathon? And then, I put it on my socials, and I just sort of got people's opinions, and everyone's like, yeah, marathon. And then I was like, well, how am I going to do this?
What point did you decide marathon? Was that before or after?
Or... Look, I think deep down I'd already decided it, but then wanted reassurance.
You're just an overachiever, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. But then I think a lot of it was, ego driven in a good way, as in, using it to good use. And then I was like, oh, cool, do a marathon. And then I was done some research, and a few people had done it before, raising money for charity. And I was like, oh, that's quite cool. And then I got the idea from them, oh, let's do it, not just for me, but let's raise some money for charity.
Yeah.
A lot better charity than Beyond Blue, with anxiety and depression and suicide. The work that those guys do, in terms of mental health, I think is really good. And it sort of went together quite well with the whole, in hotel quarantine, because your mental strength gets put to the test, right? So I think that was really cool. So then on the days up to it, I mean, I've never run a marathon. I'm not a runner. So I was just like,
bro, yeah, I was going to ask you that. Like, I know you're in pretty good shape, but like the preparation that people go into running a marathon, like,
full on.
Pretty full. And you didn't have any of that preparation?
No. So there was there's a comedian in New Zealand, William Wairoa. You might have heard of him, and he does the it was his 365th yog. He calls a jog a yog, and it was he'd done a year of back-to-back jogs every day, and he so it was his 365th yog, and that was 3 days before I was about to do the marathon, right? So by this point, I was like, okay, cool. I started watching videos on YouTube, get some inspiration, all that sort of stuff. And he was doing 365, so people could join him virtually, 3K, 6K, or 5K. And I was like, look, I'd go for the 6K. I ended up running 8K, just because I had a few issues with my Apple Watch. But anyways.
So was this also in your hotel room or before you went into quarantine?
Yeah, this was also in the hotel room.
Oh,
so
right.
3 days. So the marathon was run on day 10. So day 7, I ran 8K just to test it, and it felt really good. I mean, the beautiful thing about it is it's a controlled environment. So I can set the temperature of the room. So I had it quite cool.
What temperature?
It was 22 degrees, a nice brisk 22 degrees.
And for those of the people that are probably in winter right now, 22 is like a beautiful summer's day that they're like sweating in. I suppose coming from Bali, which has been 32 and humidity, 22 is pretty fresh.
Yeah, it was. I did try 18 to be honest on the first on that trial run, with William Waddell. And then it was 18. It was too cold, and I was like, look. So I cranked it up as I was running. I felt 22 was quite nice. So I'd still sweat, but it would kind of like dry quite quick just because it was nice and cool. But yeah, so I done that, and that's the only training I done. I mean, I'm always one to exercise fasted. Like I love fasted cardio in the morning and all that sort of stuff. And then to go from that and then to carb load, like, watching all these videos, people are like, you've got to carb load. You must carb load. If you're eating 3,000 calories a day, double it, 6,000. And I was like, shit, that's a lot of food, man. Like, I've got a small little stomach, Yeah, so then
How do you get food in quarantine? Like, do you have room service there or what? Because you're in a nice hotel there, right?
So yeah, at the Marriott Hotel in Sydney and Circular Quay, 5-star hotel, really nice hotel. So they've got room service, and then you can order. I just ordered some treats, like a lot of carbs basically, and protein bars, etc. from Woolworths. So you get a grocery delivery. So I done that. So yeah, so basically after I'd done that run, those 3 days leading up, I was probably, I was eating a lot, and I was like, all right, cool. I was still working out every day. I'd done one leg workout prior to it, but the rest of it was sort of like all body and upper body. And then I just thought, you know what, like, I mean, I class myself as an athlete, and then I was like, cool, I'm just going to rock up, show up, and just fucking get it done. Because, 90% of it's all mental.
Yeah.
And I just thought, it'd be quite cool. And then as I was planning this marathon, there was that ego, like as I was saying before, deep down, that was going, we're running 50Ks. And I'm like, well, relax, because we've never run a marathon, mate. So let's just get the marathon over and done with before we do it. So yeah, so I felt good on the day, man. I woke up 5 as usual. I had a banana, a protein bar, and a protein shake. Had an energy gel, and just got stuck in. Started just after 6, and I was, streaming it live like this with the Zoom on Facebook. But as people wanted to join me on the Zoom, somehow on the Facebook Live it just stopped. But it was all good. It was cool, anyways. I had a lot of friends join me on the run. I had one mate in particular, Hamish, sat there for the full 6 hours with me, kept me company. And, having all those people tune in really helped. But man, I was surprised with my endurance and, how I was holding up. So the average overall, I think, was like 7:55 per kilometer. So most of the Ks.
What is that, like Ks per hour? Because I work in the opposite way.
Do you? So yeah, so I'm not too sure what that would be, Ks per hour.
Sounds like it's still relatively fast. So it would be probably somewhere between a fast walk and a jog, is it? Because I can't imagine you get too much.
It's classed as a jog, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, so man, it was like, I started off a really good pace. Like, I was doing 6-minute Ks, and then I got to about 10 Ks. I was like, let's just slow it down a little bit. And then as people were joining, I was like stopping, letting people into the meeting and stuff like that, because a mate would come or a couple would come, they'd chat, another one would join, another one would leave. And so people were taking sort of turns. So it was quite cool.
Did you have headphones in so you could chat with them while you're running, or you could just do it? It was small enough in your room?
Yeah, it was just small enough in my room. So I just done it all through my laptop. So it was quite cool. But man, even after the 50K, I still felt really good. Like, to be honest, I mean, not being, cocky or anything, I still think I could have done further. So, I sort of rested my knees. I've got really bad knees. That's why I'm not a runner. So like, they were the only thing that were a little bit sore. But I mean, I had a little bit of a rest day yesterday. And then today I feel sweet. So, you know, back into the
And
normal today.
just like just hearing you talk about it, it still just blows my mind to think that's even possible. Like it's stretching the limits of my brain. If I go out and run 5K, you know, I could do 5K. I probably could push myself to 10K without any real exercise, and that's going to be a struggle. But like, you know, there's a significant difference in running out on the street or along, you know, wherever outside 10K as opposed to in your room. Like that's a lot of fucking laps.
5,555 to be exact. So it's 9 meters from
Insane.
here to the door. But I mean, I think that was that's what I wanted to do. You know, I could have got a treadmill. No one wants to watch a guy run 50Ks on a treadmill. Like treadmills are mundane, and then it feels like they push you at a certain speed. I mean, you know, so
You're not
it's
actually
like,
propelling yourself forward, are you? That's just moving under your feet.
yeah, exactly right. And I was just like, you know what? It's going to be harder doing the laps, especially mentally and physically, because I found as I was turning around, like pivoting, I just have to watch the pressure that I was putting on the knees and just be very careful when I turned around that I didn't twist anything or anything like that. But it was, you know, it gets pretty repetitive. So, you know, having people, you know, join me on the Zoom and the Facebook Live, I was truly grateful for, man. They made a huge difference.
Yeah.
You know, and just, you know, chatting to me. And I was like, knees are sore, and Hamish was great. He lives in New Zealand, from Christchurch, good friend of mine. And he was like, I was like, man, knees are sore. He goes, no, not focus. It's all good. You know, I was like, yeah, no, they're not. So,
Yeah.
look, I'm a bit blown away by it all as well. Like I was kind of like, I mean, I'm pretty proud of myself. It's to run a marathon. I thought an ultra marathon was 100 Ks or more. And then to run the marathon and go, oh, cool, I've done 50. And then I speak to people, they go, you've run a marathon and an ultra marathon. I was like, whoa. I was like, I didn't even know that. I just thought 50K was a nice round number. And people have done marathons. I mean, I had to do one further, right? The competitive nature. So,
I love how you kind of like, yeah, fuck yeah, I did it. And I want to celebrate you for that, like massively. I like put a post out. I shared it in some private groups that you don't even know that I shared it in, because I just think like, what a model of excellence for like mental stamina, endurance, just going, oh, yeah, I'm going to go and do it. And you go and do it. Like I never had any doubt that you could do it. And I knew like your perseverance and probably, I don't know, maybe a level of arrogance to say, there is no failure. I'm not sure if that's the right word. Arrogance. I don't know. It's just the grit, the determination that you bring to it, right? And now sitting here talking about it, you're like, yeah, I did it because, well, what other choice did I have? It was just going to happen. Like,
yeah, thanks, man. I think, yeah, it was a great way to kill a day. So if anyone who's going to watch this, they go, oh, what am I going to do in quarantine? Well, mate, that will kill
run an
6.
ultra marathon. Oh, geez. Now you said that you've run a half marathon before. Was that outside? Was that like a regular style?
No, so with Amore, so met her at the gym. He was like, I want to run a half marathon. And she's like, do you want to go for a run? And I was like, yeah, cool. And I was like, how far are we running? She's like, 10K. I was like, mate, 10K is like the longest I've ever, like, done.
I remember that was only like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. And then,
So you've gone from running 10K maximum in your life to an ultra marathon in 3 weeks without really training.
pretty much. So I done 10K the following week. I was like, cool, we're running the half marathon. And she goes, well, no, I need to train more. I was like, no, you don't. Just fucking let's go. And then just done over 2 hours. And that was on a treadmill. It was really mundane and boring. You know, it gets really tiring on the treadmill, and you just like, and then, you know, I wasn't wearing the right gear, you know, I had really bad shape and all the bad things that go along with it. So, you know, I'd done that. I felt good, and I was like, oh, that felt really good. And she's like, that's pretty big. And I was like, yeah, I mean, like I know it's pretty good, but it's like kind of, I was surprised. That's when I started surprising myself with the stamina. Now, before that, I mean, like I said, I'm not a runner. I used to, when I was in Melbourne through the lockdown, I'd go for runs, but then I started hurting my knees, and I was like, oh, cool, running's over for me. You know, I'll just stick to cycling and other low impact exercise. But yeah.
So do you think like I know that you're pretty fit and you like working out and doing your stuff. You talk about it like I don't feel like you over talk it. I know some people that come to mind when they're like, yeah, if I can smash it at the gym, and they talk themselves up. You're kind of like, yeah, I'm just going for a workout. I'm starting to get the impression that you're just a workout is not just a workout. if you're like, yeah, I just did an ultra marathon, like as if it was just something that you did yesterday, your workouts, are they really extreme? What do you do to prepare for this? Like, is it physical fitness and your physical, or is it more mental? Like, where's the balance between those two things?
I think it's a bit of both. I mean, like, I'm a pretty fit guy. I think a lot of it's mental. You know, if we go back to when we did the Melbourne lockdown, you know, I had a whiteboard, right? And this is one thing that disciplined me. And whatever workout I wrote on the whiteboard, I had to do. And because the gym that I was going to, we were doing everything, you know, just swapped from, you know, to in-home workouts. And a lot of it was body weight. So, you know, a lot of it was always, I had to, that competitive nature, that ego inside me going, I had to do one better. You know, I'll do 1,000 reps, cool. 2,000 reps, cool. And then, you know, I loved getting all the data on my Apple Watch and my Whoop band and sharing all of that. And then, so, I mean, the workouts that I've been doing here, most of them have sort of been between 1,600 to 2,000 reps a day, where I'll just choose like 10 exercises and sort of do like 200 reps of each. Usually takes me 45 minutes to an hour, depending what the exercises are. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm always looking to push further. Now that I've realized, hey, you know, you could run a marathon, Rowdy. You can run an ultra marathon, Rowdy. Now it's like, okay, cool. So what does that look like when I get out of here? Now it's in my head that, okay, when I get out of here, one of the first things I'm going to be doing is running a marathon, you know, in the sort of outdoors natural environment. And then
to the end of it and turn around and run back again, right? Because you're used to all these turnarounds and you're like, oh, that was just the end of the hallway.
So I think that's one of the big things. But now I've got this idea of I want to run 100 Ks.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, cool. So something like that, I think, you know, you'd have to probably do some training for, because it's pretty serious. But yeah, to kind of answer your question, I think, I mean, a lot of it's mental. You get to these, I love the whole exercise thing, because I get to this really, like, sometimes not dark place, but it being uncomfortable. You've got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I feel like that's where, you know, a lot of my sort of resilience and sort of mental toughness has been built, because, you know, I'd go to the gym and it's like, you know, oh, cool, we're just doing 3 sets of 20. Oh, yep, okay, done. And it's like, nah, I'd load the weights up at the end and then push and see how far I can push. Or I'd go on the bike and it's like, cool, let's do 30K. All right, cool, jump on the bike. And it's like, all right, you know, heart rate's up to 180, 190. I'm like, cool, let's do 35. Get to 30. Like, I've always got to push that one more. And I feel like, you know, it's a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, for me, I see it as a healthy thing, because you can use it to your advantage. But I mean, my end goal is to be the best version of myself. I'm building a legacy. I want to keep going that further. I don't know where it will take me, but I feel like, you know, if you want to keep improving, you have to keep challenging the limits, you know, and be comfortable being uncomfortable.
It sounds like you're not only comfortable being uncomfortable, but it sounds like you love it. Like you find true motivation and true joy in that discomfort.
Yeah, I do. To be honest, I love. That's like coming into this whole hotel quarantine. You know, I was saying to you and some other friends, and I was like, you know, they're like, oh, you poor thing, you're going to hotel quarantine. I'm like, no, mate, this is an opportunity. Like, I love it, right? You know, like, one, you're in an unfamiliar environment. You know, you're out of your comfort zone. You've got everything's been taken away from you. You're in a little prison cell, basically. You just get your breakfast, lunch, dinner. You don't get any choice in the matter apart from your dietary requirements, and you've got room service if you want to. And I was like, you know, last couple of weeks in Bali, you know, I had a few, you know, beers here and there, and I was eating all the time. But I was just, you know, the discipline had gone out the window, and I was like, cool. I came back in here, sobered up, and I was like, you know, I've seen a lot of friends come through here and sleep full days and all this stuff and drink their way through it, and I was like, nah. Well, I mean, you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I want to do, you know, the marathon, ultra marathon, work on business, stuff like that. But it's just, you take it day by day. And I feel like you just keep building this mental strength. You know, like I'm not going to lie, there's been a couple of days here where it's, you don't have bad days, but you just have bad thoughts. You know,
Yeah.
then they're like passing by thoughts. It's not, I'm not saying that I've got, you know, you'll have like a little moment of anxiety or something like that, but you know,
Well, and that's life, isn't it? We all get that all
yeah,
the time. You know, no matter whether we're stuck in a hotel room or, you know, I can totally resonate with that. Having this amazing life here in Bali and still get those thoughts and go, what the fuck's wrong with me? Am I not grateful for what I've created? But it's actually just part of the human existence.
yeah, 100%.
Being able to observe them, what a great way to, you know, handle them and let them move through and give them space and then let them go.
Mm. Yeah, I just it's all perspective and mindset. You know, it's how you look at things. You know, I was excited. Before I came in, I was like, awesome, I can't wait to get in there. You know, and people were like, why the fuck? You must be the only person excited to go into quarantine. And I was like, yeah, but that's what I'm doing. I'm prepping myself for it. I'm like, cool, can't wait to get in there. It's going to be awesome. Got all these things that, you know, planned out for the 2 weeks. And then, you know, there was always going to be a physical aspect, you know, exercise wise. It was, and because I just like challenging myself. So it's like, cool, you know, let's just fucking go on there. Let's do a marathon, ultra marathon.
Yeah.
Better yet, raised money for charity, $1,600 for charity, 1,632, I think, is the total. So
That's awesome. As an individual, you know, Mr. James Rowdy, as an individual, that you raised that through your network and through your hard work, that's amazing as well. So that's a huge celebration and win for your hard work. And
yeah,
that must be such testament as well to the people that you've surrounded yourself with.
yeah. Well, I mean, as I've told you, I want fucking all my mates and people close to me, family, friends. I just want them to be happy, healthy, and wealthy and live a good life, right? So for me going out there, I have people who message me all the time and they cry on my shoulder and they play it. They go, oh man, you know, my missus dumped me, and they're always victim blaming and all this sort of shit. And I was like, I've just proven, regardless your situation or your environment, you can literally achieve anything you want to in life. You said people are in these situations going, yeah, but I'm just going to wait till Monday and start my diet, or, you know, and they're setting themselves up for failure, you know, or I can't leave this relationship because, you know, oh, we've got a joint bank account. Like there's always excuses. So I just, you know, at the end of it, I just said to everyone, I was like, this proves, regardless of your environment and your situation, you can achieve anything you put your mind to, anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, I just hope, you know, people take that on board and go, fuck, you know, and it inspires them and to, you know, go and achieve their goals that they've been putting off for fucking their whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, whether it's on this instance or the next instance, or it could be 10 or 20, but like, you know, that repetition, I feel like at some stage, at some point, it will be just one of those little things that, you know, you or I or someone can display and show a little bit of leadership, a little bit of motivation, being that model of excellence that you've stepped so well into, then they go, fuck, I'm actually going to do it. And they go and do it. And then their whole life has changed. And I think, you know, for me, I know that's one of the most rewarding things that I do in my life. And it's something that, you know, it's hard to go and create, but with consistency and just turning out being the best version, the best person that we can be, you know, it just happens. It happens over and over again, right? I'm sure you've got a lot of people I've heard, you know, through your Instagram and seeing the support actually that you got from this event, man, all the shares that you got, that was so cool.
Yeah.
People that are like, you know, truly inspired by, like, man, what you've done has opened up a whole new level of thinking for myself. I'm not a runner. I'm going to avoid hotel quarantine. Like good. I'm not going to be there. So I'm not going to do that. But like, it's opened up a whole new level of thinking in different ways for me, which I think is awesome.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm glad that, you know, I've inspired you to do that.
And I'm so happy that you've come on, jumped on to have this chat with me, because I feel like there'll be other people that will be watching this to go, fuck, what a story. I love that.
Yeah, mate, I'm glad to see your pretty face and that, you know, grateful for the friendship, man. So
I do wonder. So before that, you know, you're talking about all this grit and this determination and this mindset and, you know, resilience that you bring to it, and your ability to just find that such inspiration and enjoyment and having that discomfort. Have you always been like this, or can you remember a moment that you weren't?
nah, I used to be a very insecure, drug and alcohol addict, prior to COVID, you know, yeah, big drug and alcohol addict. And then went to COVID, took me, and then
So you're
gone from being
talking like pretty much this time 12 months ago.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly right. And then, getting put, Melbourne went into lockdown. I'm in an apartment by myself. I thrive on social interaction, and I'm an extrovert. So it's like I need that setting. And then I got put into an uncomfortable environment, and then I started peeling back the layers, and going, hey, drugs, they're not doing anything for you. Alcohol, that's not doing anything for you. Cigarettes, get rid of it. Let's fucking, and you start pulling back the layers, and you find out who you really are, and you're going, well, do you really want to be living your life like this? And I was weak, I'd go into the gym. Fuck, I was fat, overweight, 85 kilos. Now I'm 70, and it's just like, I would, lifting weights in front of girls, and girls are lifting heavier than me. So, I used to be really weak, and I was just like, fuck, and then you'd get better and stronger. And I was like, everyone kept saying to me, it's mental. And then, I'd go on YouTube and just watch all these people that would do these amazing things, the likes of David Goggins and all these inspirational people that I listened to. And then I was just like, fuck, well, if they can do it, I can do it, and then I think it's just that it's like anything. Over time, you build yourself up to this certain level where you want to be. And I mean, going through that, I was like, well, I heard people, fucking just did some horrible shit in COVID, suicides going on. A lot of people got anxiety and depression. And then, I got pretty down at one point, but I was like, you know what, it's what you make of it. I mean, and that's when, I was like, I don't want to live here and move to Bali, with you. But then, yeah, I think it's just, you really break it down. You just go, what are you doing with your life, and where do you want to be? Like, you just existing and you just living for the weekend, or like, do you want to build a legacy and be something fucking better than that? And I mean, that's what I want to do. I want to be the best version of myself, and I want to keep pushing myself, because, I think success is measured by how many people show up at your funeral, not how much money's in your bank account. You know what I mean? So I think, I want to be known and build a legacy and known for these achievements that I've done, not that fat, overweight, drug and alcohol addict who just love to party all the time,
Yeah.
I think that you go through moments like those, and they sort of, it's like that wake up call, right? And some people get them, and some people sleep right through them, and they just keep hitting snooze, and then they get to the end of their life and they didn't make an impact. You know what I mean? So it's like, I was like, I don't want to be that person. I definitely want to make an impact, for me, number one, but, helping and inspiring others. Like, that's some real big dick energy. I think, if you can do that, I mean, that, and make a positive impact, spreading kindness and awareness, and just being a good human, not a shit one, has a huge impact on people, right? And you start creating this beautiful environment, and you start surrounding yourself with all these like-minded, beautiful people, and you guys are just on this beautiful journey together. You know what I mean? Like us when we met.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I love how you're talking about, what is it that you want to leave at the end of your life? What legacy do you want to create, and what is the meaning and the purpose of our existence? And this is a pretty high chunk level conversation to be having, and the reality is most people aren't having this. People are stuck in the day-to-day action, just going, I got to worry about the next whatever safe problem is that they got the next day, right? And I'm all for living in the moment, but if we're living in the moment without thinking about what it is that we want to create and the future that we want to live, well, how are you even going to work towards it, right?
Yeah, 100%. People are way too comfortable, and they're insecure, and they're masking things. They're masking all their insecurities with all this bullshit, like the buying houses and materialistic objects. That deep down, they're not living the life they want to live.
No.
And they have to live with that guilt, and it's deep down, and they mask it with drug and alcohol abuse, eating shit food, and
I saw this quote the other day, actually. Yeah, it was it's something that just resonates with me so closely. There is a quote was like, well, what kind of status symbol is that Range Rover that you drive to the job that you hate?
100%.
Not a status symbol.
And I mean, yeah, that's exactly right. And, going back to Melbourne and and going back into that environment. I mean, that's going to be challenging being surrounded by that, but you know, different now. But I mean, that's the reality of first world problems, right?
Mhm.
That they're all doing this and they're going, oh yeah, but drive a Range Rover. But yeah, man, but when you're driving that Range Rover, you're fucking sad and miserable. And, you
Mm.
know, money doesn't buy happiness. Like, yeah, but you'd rather cry in a Range Rover. Well, good luck to you, mate. But
That was
you
me,
know,
man. I was cruising around in my Audi S5 in Sydney, and you know, I thought I was all the shit, but you know what? I didn't have shit.
oh, that's it. And no one gives a fuck at the end of the day.
It
No
made
one.
no difference to me. People were like, oh man, you must pick up all the girls with this. No way. I had too many insecurities. Girls don't like that.
No, they don't. Girls like deep down, girls like guys that are, you know, in touch with their feelings and fucking honest, you know, and confident.
And you know, like I feel like, you know, there'd be many guys that would hear that through what? In touch with your feelings, you fucking pussy. But you know, as soon as you show vulnerability and the capability to be vulnerable, you know, obviously with the right people in a resourceful adult kind of way, not you know, in a childish way. Geez, it's funny, there'll probably be girls on this call that like they're probably nodding their heads going, yeah, man, yeah, that's attractive. Love it. It works over and over again.
Yeah, yeah,
But also
100%.
with guys as well. I think that's why we connected so well. I love that about you. What we instantly connected on is when you came in. I remember that very first ride from the airport in the car, and you started telling me about like some of those things that you just talked about. You know, drug and alcohol addictions, and going, you know, how much pain and hurt that caused, and trying to come out of it. You're like, fuck, you know, I still struggle with some of these things and whatever. But I was like, man, this guy's real. You know, this is what, you know, I love, and I'm attracted to that, not in a gay way. You know, don't need to be worried about that. You know, you know, I like that's I love that in people, and you know, it's certainly when I've stepped into that, now I can handle that with other people, and it's just changed the whole way that, you know, I manage my own relationships with others and how I can connect with others as well. So it's
Oh
two.
man, and you know, likewise, bro. Like when we met, you know, I mean, I'm very vulnerable and comfortable now. And when we met, and you know, we were just both done the same, showed vulnerability, and you know how confident we were, and the achievements that we'd made, and you know, we were in that moment together. And I was just like, you know, we just, you know, I just knew that it was going to be a really, you know, beautiful and great friendship. And you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the future with it. But I mean, a lot of people, when you start being honest with yourself and going, you know, oh, how's everything going? And going, oh, look, you know, it's not going too good. And then they're just used to that, you know, rhetorical answer, like, yeah, good, thanks. But then, you know, and you start telling, and then a lot of people just get caught off guard. And then, you know, sometimes they don't know how to handle that. And then, but that shows more about them than you know what I mean? Because it's just insecurities, because they're just, everyone in this first world that they're so insecure. It's just, you know, and they can't have those conversations where, okay, yeah, oh, you love your friends and stuff like that, and you'll say you'll always be there for them, but oh yeah, but going through a rough time, oh okay, well, oh shit, you know, oh you'll be all right, mate. Like, do you want to go to the pub and drink? Like, no.
Yeah.
First thing you can do, dickhead, like sit there like fucking adults and find what the fucking problem is, the source of the problem, and figure out the solution for it. You
Yeah.
know, like we're all intelligent enough to fucking do that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's just, yeah, there's a lot of insecure people. I mean, look, I've still got insecurities. I mean, everyone does. No one's fucking perfect, right? But I feel like as you're more honest with them, um, you start breaking it down. You're going, oh, cool. You know, like maybe I don't need to drive that cool car to impress people. You
And
know,
you know
no,
what is funny with that? You mentioned like, you know, the insecurities, when you give them space, you acknowledge them, you talk about them, suddenly they're not insecurities anymore. They become like elements of almost confidence, or they become the opposite. And that's the paradox of them. They're only insecurities when they're left in the dark, growing like mushrooms. And then you
yeah,
shine some light on them, and then they kind of just fade away, they die, and it's like, oh, well, that actually wasn't a big deal.
that's a great analogy. That's a
Yeah.
great analogy. I think that's awesome. And that's what it is. And I think, you know, if we can, you know, like I love what you're doing, you know, with yourself and these businesses with the, you know, the life coaching and stuff. We can do more discussions like this, and just, you know, someone might watch this and go, yeah, fuck, I've got a lot of insecurities. What these boys are talking about is true, right? And then it resonates with them, and it resonates with a lot of people. I think, it's just showing that awareness and uh, spreading that awareness and showing people, hey, it's
Mm.
fucking being vulnerable is fucking cool. Like if
Yeah.
you're not vulnerable, you ain't cool. That's the way I look at it now. Like, oh yeah, cool. You got insecurities. Well, mate, I mean, we've all got insecurities, but if you're not vulnerable about them and addressing them, then and you're taking the piss out of everyone who is, like, yeah, you're not cool in my books.
One of the things that I think we need more of in this world, we see it on social media, how it's like, the "Are you okay" movement. If you're going through a tough time, talk about it. Hey, you can always come to me and open stuff up. You know, tell me whatever you want, and everyone's inviting each other to go to them. But what I don't see enough of is people actually showing their own insecurities, they're being vulnerable with others to display that they can handle it. Because you know say you say to me, "Oh yeah, come to me and talk to me," and you haven't shown any of that. I'm asking myself on a deep subconscious level, like, can I trust this dude? Can I trust myself to open up to this guy? Is he going to shame me? Is he going to be able to handle it? Is he going to be, is he going to be there for me? Does he even know what I'm talking about? Can he resonate with any of that? And if you haven't displayed any of it, how the fuck am I supposed to trust you? Whereas the alternative is when you're being vulnerable and you're like, hey, I've got this issue and this issue, and I'm trying to overcome this problem and, different challenges. And I don't know what to do, but I'm getting through it. I'm like, man, this guy, like what you're saying, I totally resonate with. It's like you're reading my mind. I've got the same problem. Hey, let's come together and we talk about it. And like, that's what we need in this world. That's what we need with social media. And I don't see anywhere enough of that. But one thing I do consistently see with all your posts is exactly that. And I don't know, are people resonating with it? Are you getting comments and likes? And, are people coming out and engaging with that?
I think, yeah, I mean, that's when I did, I had my social media break, and then, came back with the rebranding and stuff like that. And I was like, this is what I want to use my social media for, not for the highlight reels of how much money I've made and whatever lifestyle I want to live.
Yeah.
It's to provide value, like I've only got a few thousand people on Instagram, but I constantly provide value, but with quotes and stuff like that. And I get random, like, just followers, people I've never met before, and some of them open right up because it's like that. Their environment that they're surrounded with all these friends and family, they feel like they can't open up, and it's just they might be living in that environment where it's like, oh, you'll be right, son, like, let's go have a beer, and that sort of old school traditional mentality that you'll be right. But they're not deep down. So, if you've got people on the internet doing that, and showing vulnerability and going, hey, I've done this, I was drug and alcohol addict, and I've, now I'm on this path, and people go, oh shit, they resonate with it, like you said. But yeah, it's crazy, man. I get a lot of people in my DMs, and no judgment. I try and help them out as best I can. And then, it's not about like likes and followers and stuff like that. Like, I started Twitter, a month or so ago, and I just post a lot of quotes on there. I've got 7 followers. Every day I write a quote, a few hashtags. I don't do it for fucking likes. Like, it's just, I'm like, you know what? I just want to keep providing value and serving others. And someone might come across my profile one day, and it might be what they need, or those 7 people are getting a lot of value,
Yeah.
And then sharing those on all social media platforms is just like, if I could do this, being vulnerable, and it's not about, because Instagram's a highlight reel, right? And it's so bad. And and everyone compares themselves. I'm guilty of it. Everyone does it, but it's just, I wanted to show like what a day-to-day is like, document it, going, oh, cool. Today I felt shit. Why did I feel shit? Well, this is why I felt shit. But, it was only for a split second, because I'm in control of my thoughts, and I know how to overcome when you're feeling shit, right? So sort of just showing that vulnerability, so then people can resonate with it. Like you said, just pump out heaps of content on there. It doesn't matter how many likes and shit you get. I mean, when I post a quote, I'll post a shirtless pic, I'll get hundreds of fucking likes. And then when I post a quote, I only get a few. And I don't really give a fuck, but that's the sad reality of what we're dealing with, right?
Yeah.
People, they all just want to see with your half naked, with your top off, or you living in the nice villa, or then living this awesome lifestyle on social media, parading the highlights. But again,
it's a tough place to be in, isn't it? Because that example that you use, if people going on social media in this space of needing significance, which could look like getting a whole lot of likes and comments, it's not really a resourceful way to gain significance. Significance is so important. It's a basic human need, one of Tony Robbins' 6 core needs. And if we're getting significance through likes and comments, and we're trying to find this significance in an unresourceful way, well, of course, we're just going to do what sort of works. The shirtless photo, I've done it myself, and it gets heaps. And I'm like, that's not really what I want to be posting, but that's what people are seeking value in. And then I do something really meaningful that's like actually truly useful, but people are like, whatever, they skim over it and don't really engage with it. And like, it's a difficult place to be in, isn't it? Is that why we're not seeing more of what we're talking about? Because do no one care? Does no one care, or no one engage with it? Or are they too scared to engage with it? So
all these questions, right?
It's kind of
yeah. Sorry, go on.
It's one of these places that it's kind of like, I think it's just in a changing time, when I think we're sort of one of the first generations that are moving through from this old school way of being, especially for guys, growing up as boys, coming from fathers and even probably mothers going, boys don't cry, toughen up, it's weak to show your feelings and insecurities. And I feel like we're in one of the first generations that it's actually okay to not prescribe to that. So
I agree.
So like maybe in the next decade to come, what we're talking about might become a bit more commonplace.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's just, now, I mean, COVID was great. Everyone's going, oh, COVID ruined my life. Like COVID, it was amazing for me, like.
What was the exact point? Because just going back to that story, you're like, yeah, so COVID was everything I didn't want, that should have ruined me. But why were you different to the people? What was it? There must have been one particular thing that made you snap and go, all right, I'm going to do the opposite to what the potential could have been.
You just get to that. I just got to that really, really low point. I was sick of fucking living like a drug and alcohol addict.
Had you been to that? Have you seen that low point before? Like, was it based off a reference point that you'd experienced in the past?
Yeah, I've been to a couple low points, like multiple times. And then I think it becomes, once you keep making those decisions and you get to those low points again, you're going, fuck. I know that deep down inside me, I envision this future of I'm going to be super, super successful, but what's that going to look like? I mean, I've got an idea of what it's going to look like. And it's not about, money and all that sort of shit. It's about, and I was like, I've always thought about that through the years. It's always been inside me, this like energy and desire to be better. And I was like, when you hit those low points, you're going, fuck, we could be here, but we're fucking around down here. So I think that I just got to COVID and I was sick of it. I was just like, fuck this, like, I mean, yeah, there was a couple of times, man, it got dark and I was just like, nah, fuck this. There's more to life, like I'm young, I'm 30. So it's like, I'm only just getting started. I'm only 30% through life, I'm looking at it long term, I want to live to 100 years. So I'm 30% done, so I just felt like, fuck this, the next 30, 70 years, it's going to be phenomenal. And I'm going to take charge. And I just wanted to I was just sick of doing what I was surrounded by people, complaining, coming home, watching Netflix, doing nothing really exciting with their lives. And I just thought, I do not want to be like this. I don't want the family. I don't want the kids. I don't want the house. I don't want any of that. I don't want to work the corporate job. I want to live life on my own terms.
Yeah.
I think that's, we've got those similarities and it's just like, you just go against the grain. Like none of that excites me, It's just, I want more out of life. And I think, what it's all about is just getting more out of life. I mean, I'm struggling to find a term that I'm thinking of, but
there's plenty of cliche terms that go around that. I won't even need to
There,
suggest them, but I know what you're talking about. I feel
yeah,
like
it's just going
many
to
of
get
us resonate with it. Yeah. Um, we've got 15 minutes to the hour.
yeah, cool.
Just a bit of a backstory for whoever is watching and tuned in on the recording. Normally, it's funny, every time we probably didn't catch up enough. We didn't have enough of these talks. Anytime we spoke, it was always like, yeah, we'll catch up for a coffee. 2.5 hours later, half the day's gone, and we're like,
No,
all right,
those
schedule
guys,
this in for again soon, and then another 2.5 hours goes by. So we'll try to keep it on the hour. But what I'm really curious
yeah.
about is you're talking about getting more out of life, and you touched on this a little bit with me, and like it's something that I found really inspirational. Is how do your days look, whether it's outside of quarantine at the or inside quarantine at the moment? Because you've got some really cool daily habits and rituals and structures that you bring into your day. And that's why I appreciate you making the time to jump on this call as well, and spending the time to chat, because I know you probably scheduled this in your day as well. What does it actually look like? And the purpose behind some of these things that you do?
So I'll quickly break it down. So I get up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning, usually around the 5 mark. And it goes back. I read this thing on the net ages ago, right? I think David Goggins might even said it. He's like, you get up an hour or 2 hours earlier before everyone else, and you sacrifice a little bit of sleep, and then, but in term, you get these 13 months out of a year. And I was like, wow. And then that really resonated with me. So it's like, you can use this to get ahead of your competition. And because I'm very competitive, I was like, this is cool. And I feel like there's some sort of bliss in the morning when you wake up and at that hour, I sit there, have my coffee, and I get really creative in the morning because everyone's asleep, and I, do music, listen to music or a podcast or whatever. And I just, I usually get a lot of my work done in the morning. To sort of wake up at 5, I'll have a coffee or something like that. In quarantine, I've been waking up and doing a lot of writing and sort of little bits of work, but usually, I mean, it's in the morning, sort of 5, wake up, have a coffee and that, and then I'd usually do some form of exercise for 45 minutes to an hour, and then I'd do my work after that. I mean, the quarantine routine is a bit different to what I usually do. So, get up, yeah, go to the gym, and then I'll do some sort of work or something like that.
What about the micro stuff? Because I remember, and I wish I wrote some of these down. Maybe I can take this opportunity now to record some of them. Like tiny little things that you do, like reach out to 3 people in a day, and like the specific question you'd ask them, like what you're referring to before.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry. So I'll actually read that list out to you guys. So what my daily routine habits are. So, this is sort of, it changes depending on my environment, but what they are is, sort of, so drink minimum 3.8 liters of water a day, which is a gallon
Ellen,
of
yeah.
water. I do 2 workouts. One is indoors, one is outdoors. I do 200 ab exercises a day, and they vary different days of what
That's repetitions of different format of
yeah,
doing.
that's it. Yeah, different repetitions of different exercises, and then I do 200 push-ups every day, and then I do meditation. 30 minutes of sunbathing. Well, that hasn't been happening in quarantine, unfortunately. Beautiful Bali tan's going away. But the other one is check in on 3 friends. So
I love this.
Try and make this different for every day. So 3 different friends, and it could be people on Instagram, people on Facebook. It could be a work colleague, whatever, friends, family. Try and keep it different every day. And it's when I do that, it's not hey going. I like to dive a bit deeper and sort of poke around a bit and go, hey, how's your health going? How's your physical health? How's your mental health? What's the biggest challenge you're facing at the moment? Things like that, and it makes people think and try and be a bit more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And
Great encouragement as well.
yeah, and I think it's sort of because everyone's going through some shit, right? And I think if you just ask these questions, you might have made someone's day, or help someone who was going through a really bad time.
Yeah.
I like the other thing is a cold shower every day.
I bet
That's
they're going
got,
to be a bit colder over there in Melbourne than what they are here in Bali.
yeah, it's a lot colder. Um, but I mean, the benefits of cold shower, you know, you can look at likes of Wim Hof and stuff like that. There's
Mm,
he swears by you have a cold shower every day, you won't get sick. You know, I was doing them in winter in Melbourne. I don't think I got the flu last year when I was doing them. It was fucking cold, but it's better than any coffee you'll ever take.
yeah,
Um, Read 10 pages of a self-help book. Um,
nice.
I think that's really good. You know, that adds a lot of value, and it
Yeah.
keeps you reading, and reading's important. You know, I
It's a
don't.
nice way to disconnect from screen time as well, right? 10 pages isn't much, but it's probably the same time as what you can spend endlessly scrolling on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, there's not much gets achieved in the scrolling phase. You know what I mean? So it's good to sort of disconnect. And I mean, some people read on laptops. I'm reading actually Atomic Habits at the moment by James Clear on my laptop, which is the first sort of book that I've read on a laptop. But most of them all been paperback. But it's paperback's great because it just you put the phone down, your digital devices, and you sit there in front of a book. It's nothing better. And then what else we got? So listen to a podcast. I try and listen to. I keep it interesting. Usually self-help. Might be motivational. Might be Joe Rogan. Might be just a couple of blokes having conversation. Whatever.
Yeah,
Um, I find there's always value in each in a podcast, right? It's sharing stories, providing value. I think there's it's really cool. And that was one of my goals this year. Listen to a podcast every day. So I
yeah,
think
nice.
so far I've missed one day. So I'm trying not to miss any more. And then leave 5 comments on people's posts. So whether it be social media, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Someone's put up a photo. It's not about going onto good-looking girls' sites and going, "Hey, fuck, I'd love a piece of that ass." You know what I mean? Like, I think it's more just going. Someone's put up a photo. They feel good about themselves. So they put it out there, and for someone to go and comment and go, "Hey, you look really good." Obviously, have meaning behind it, but to
Yeah,
go out there and just do small things like that, or someone's bought you know, something that they're proud of or done something they're proud of and they put up a post, I think just showing, words of encouragement
no,
um, and just engaging that way, showing some form of kindness.
yeah,
Um,
that's really cool. And probably like what we're talking about before, people are looking for that significance and that recognition. It doesn't cost anything to recognize someone that they're really proud about, and reinforcing behaviors, more behaviors than that what we need to see on social media in
yeah.
a way that's meaningful. I love that. It's really good.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I totally agree. And then the other thing is I bought a gratitude journal. So there's a guy called Hugh Van Cuylenburg. He's in Melbourne and he's got a company called the Resilience Project. Really
Awesome.
great book. But basically it's a gratitude journal. And it just basically asks you every day, how are you feeling? Why do you feel this way? What are 3 things that went well for you for the day?
Mm,
This has been massive into changing my way of thinking. I would come home, when I worked my corporate job, stressed out, and I was thinking, oh, these dickheads, they didn't do what I wanted them to do, or they put too much stress and pressure on me. And you start writing in that book, and it's go, well, what are you grateful for today? What went well? And you'd have, especially if you're in a bad mood, you'd go, yeah, well, this went bad, but it's like, well, who cares? But what went well today,
yeah. And
And
what you
it's really
focus on. Yeah.
focusing on that positive and start shifting that mindset. I think it's really important, and there's cool parts in the book that get you it will say, oh, who's someone you're grateful for and why, and then you write in the book and you take a photo and you share it with someone. So it's
I
kind of
love that. When you did that for me one time, man, like that made my day. Like my day was pretty good, but that stuck with me for so many hours. And I had to go and share. I was so proud about it. Like I need to go and share it with other people. And I was like, man, the difference that makes, because I kind of know, we share lots of things together and we appreciate each other quite a lot already. But when you shared that, man, it was next level kind of stuff. And, you know, just experiencing that myself to be able to then go away and share that with others, I think that's so powerful and such a beautiful thing to do.
yeah, I mate, and that's exactly right. it's sort of, you've got friendships, and then I think, when you do that, it sort of takes it to that sort of deeper level, and you're going, hey, this person means a lot to me, uh, and then you express it and you show that person, and the other one's like, oh man, that's made my day. And then, they express it back, and then, it really sits and resonates with you. Like, I've had people do it to me as well. And you really start thinking about it for like the whole day, or, a good chunk of time. You're going, wow. And then you start thinking about all these cool things, and, how much they actually mean to you and stuff like that. And you're like, this is a really valuable relationship. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So
yeah,
yeah, I think it's really, really key. And that's yeah, and those things are like $20 on
yeah. How many days does it go for?
it goes for 6 months. So I'm just running, I'm coming into my last sort of few pages, probably last 20 or 30 pages.
Can I
So
make a recommendation? Actually, someone that's in, so we're streaming live in the Parallaxx Entrepreneur group. Someone that's in this group as well is Alicia Ann Wade. She's
yep,
from Harvey Bay. Maybe you've
yep.
already connected with her. Has a very similar backstory to yourself in terms of drugs and alcohol and party culture and all this kind of thing. Turned her life around. Is now a best-selling author, and one of the books that she's written around is gratitude journaling, and is a coach in being in gratitude specifically in the niche, and is now going through. And last I heard is she's joined the local government for Queensland as well, making change for environmental and more so human rights as well. So in the way people are being treated. Yeah, so it's really cool. So if you need another journal, I'd highly recommend reaching out to her and seeing where you can get one. I think through Amazon.
Switch it up for sure. Yeah,
Um,
I'd definitely be open to
so,
trying that.
support our own community, but also, just with what she's doing and everything, pretty cool movement. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure
absolutely.
how different it will be. Gratitude journals to me are gratitude journals. I'm just getting into this journaling thing. I'm doing a progress journal, which has been amazing for focus and hitting goals, and being intentional with what my focus is for the day, what my outcome for the day is, how I want to feel for the day, and then what things I need to go and tick off, which it's changed. Oh man, my progress has gone through the roof.
It's crazy when I mean, just any sort of journaling, writing down everything that's up here. When you start putting pen to paper and writing everything down, your thoughts, um, it's crazy what you can achieve, because it's like everything's up here and you go, oh yeah, yeah, and you forget things. When you start writing it down and keeping track of things and what went well today, and whether it be gratitude or, a progress journal, it's just crazy when you start, putting pen to paper.
But it's
What,
awareness, isn't it? That's
yeah,
what the
that's
whole
exactly
basis
right.
of coaching is. I do a lot of coaching with people, and people think they know what they want, but then when we actually dive into it, it's bringing awareness to what skills they've got, how great their life is, bring awareness to the things that they want to create, what they can bring to creating all that, and then bring that awareness to then become specific. That's what creates the change, and they go, oh, well, actually, now I've got the clarity. I'm not overwhelmed. I can stop procrastinating because it's this step that I need to take. And they're like, man, thank you so much. I got so much value out of this. And I'm like, well, I appreciate that. Really, all we did is just got the information that's out of your mind into some clear action points. And now you're doing it. And it's
Yeah.
actually quite simple. But basically, you can have, journaling is basically a self coaching session that you can do every day without having to spend hundreds of dollars for it.
Pretty much. That's what I said to a lot of my friends, that especially through breakups and stuff. And I was like, mate, just whatever you're thinking, give them some space to breathe. Whatever goes through your head, write it down.
Yeah.
And you're texting them, but do it in your notes or something like that. Get it all out there instead of, putting it in a text message and doing extra damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just crazy the positive impact it has, just journaling stuff down. It's like, I used to think, years ago, I was like, oh, that's a wank, and shit. And then,
All
now I
the
love
judgment, right?
it. Now I'm writing a book, it's like, I'm working away and I'm writing all this stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, this is quite cool.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I love the list that you just gave. A big objection that I kind of feel like, it comes kind of out, from within me, but what I probably would suppose other people might bring is going, well, Rowdy, that's a great list. Sounds like it takes a lot of time. I'm so fucking busy. I'd love to do it, but I'm too busy. What would you say to that?
I would say that's bullshit. That's an excuse that you're telling yourself. Anyone can make it work. I
Yeah,
mean, it's all all of that does is makes me feel good every day. You know, it keeps me present. You know, I look after my body and my mind doing all of those. I mean, you don't have to do all of them. I understand everyone's schedules are different, but you know, it just goes, people just go, oh, I'm too busy, I'm too this. And it's just like, that's just an excuse. Like, if you really want something bad enough, you'll get up earlier or you make time for it.
You
You
make
know,
time for things that are important, right?
well, exactly right. You know, it's like, okay, you're too busy, but how much time do you spend in front of your fucking mobile phone scrolling endlessly a day? And what does that achieve? Nothing, because you're comparing yourself to others, and then you're reading all the news and all these bad negative thoughts in your head. Instead, you could go to the gym or go to the walk or meditate, or, you know, reach out to your friends, provide value and leave nice comments on posts, spreading kindness and awareness. Like, all you need to do is just replace bad habits with good habits, and good habits, like anything, over time with interest, they start compounding, and they become unreal. You know, that's what James Clear talks about in his Atomic Habits. You know, it's just that compounding effect. You keep doing good things, they just keep getting better and better and better and better, you know. And that's what I say to people. I'm like, you know, they go, oh, I don't have enough time. I'm like, you do have enough time, you know. And if you don't have enough time in your day, well, fucking get up earlier. Like, you've got to make sacrifice, you know.
You either say, yeah, either make time or just be honest with yourself and say, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, and that's
It's
it.
not
If you don't want
important.
to do it, that's fine, but don't fucking whinge and complain.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just, yeah, I'm really sick of people complaining. I see a lot of it, especially in the first world, you know, like, and to show you, I was in this hotel quarantine group on Facebook, just to sort of keep tabs on people who are in the same situation as me and stuff. And everyone just whinges and complains about the food and everything like that. And I was like, mate, the meals are awesome. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and and I'm like, the only thing you guys are doing is, like, if you're complaining about the food, well, the phone's there. Why don't you just call the food service people and make a complaint about what you're not happy about, instead of you know, voicing your opinion on Facebook, which you're entitled to. But what are you really achieving? You're
Yeah.
angry and upset, and you're just masking, again, your insecurities deep down. So I've had enough of people complaining, and I'm just like, mate, what does Gary Vee say? It's like 1 in 400 trillion chance of being a human. You know, there's all these sperm that never made it, and we're the ones that did. You know, so, you know, be fucking grateful that you're
What a
living
great
this.
opportunity we've got. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
especially in this world, you know, you've got access to the internet, fresh water. You know, it's like, you know, coming from Bali, and some people do it really tough there. You know, you got to be
Especially now.
careful about the water out of the tap, because you can get fucking sick. You know, and over here, everyone's got the privilege, and yet they still complain.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Great perspective, isn't it?
Mm.
Thank you so much for taking your time today, mate.
Mate, it was great seeing your beautiful face. Thanks for having me. We should definitely do more chats like this, man. I think, you know, a lot of people get value, you know, even if we just do these, you know, every now and then. I think it'd be cool, you know, to share them on your socials and the Parallaxx group, and I can do so on mine as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, brother. Take it easy, man. I'll speak to you later.
All right. Cool. Talk to you soon, mate. Bye.
All right. Bye.